I'm Land Sharp for Christ, and welcome back to the 21 days of prayer and fasting. Can you believe it's day 17 already? Just a few short days to go till we get to that 21st day and Election Day, November 3rd. If you've been with us this whole time, or if you're just joining us, just a reminder, this is a suggested prayer guide put out by Bellevue Baptist Church, and they encouraged us to pray and fast each day leading up to the election. And the prayer guide gives us a topic to pray, consider praying over, and also a Bible scripture to go along with that topic. Today's topic is to pray God will give us leaders who are committed to justice and righteousness. So do we see that today? When we look at ourselves personally, are we judging with righteousness? Are we committed to that? Are we committed to what's just and righteous? Or are we committed to what we believe and what we think? And it's so easy to look at our leaders who argue over what justice and righteousness probably mean every day. The two platforms that we see at the presidential level are contrastingly different when it comes to stances on key topics that should be important to us. So what is just and what is right? So we look at the Bible passage today. It comes out of the book of Isaiah, and it's chapter 28, verse 17. And it says, I will make justice the measuring line and righteousness the level. Then hell will sweep away the refuge of lies, and the waters will overflow the secret place. So there's a few other translations that word this a little bit different, but the meaning is the same. So the NIV version says, I will make justice the measuring line and righteousness the plumb line. Hell will sweep away your refuge, the lie, and water will overflow your hiding place. So if you look at what a plumb line is, I've got a picture here. I don't claim to be a carpenter, but there are those in my family that have been or are today. But you understand that plumb line, it gives us that straight vertical. If we want to know what straight vertical is, we use a plumb line, and we have that. That's absolutely not going to wave or move. It's true. So that's the concept of this plumb line. Also, I think it's important as we look at this passage to understand the context around it. So I read Matthew Henry's commentary and outline on this chapter 28, and he outlined the chapter this way. Verses 1 through 4 talk about the desolation of Samaria. Then 5 through 15 talk about the prosperity of Judah with reproofs for sinfulness and unbelief. So even though Judah has been prosperous, they're being reproved for sinfulness and unbelief. They prospered despite their sinfulness and their unbelief. Then the verses where our verse comes in today is 16 to 22, talks about Christ is pointed out as the true foundation for all believers. So if we go back and think about that plumb line, the true foundation, that corner rock that we're doing this plumb line to, that's Christ. And that's what that is built on. And even back in Isaiah, long time before Christ was born and walked the earth, Isaiah is pointing out who Christ is in these passages. Then the last part of this chapter 28 talks about God's dealings with his people and how God deals with his people. So I think it's just a key verse for us to think about this week and this day of, what's God's role? How does he measure? Or how will we stand up when it's our time for judgment, and we will be judged, Christians as well as unbelievers. We're all going to be judged one day. And God's going to put that plumb line up, and Christ is going to be that cornerstone. How are we going to shape up? How are we going to look? And if we're in a position of power, like these elected officials, how much important, or even much more important for them to be straight and vertical to that line and just to lead and guide us and be committed to justice and righteousness. So it's a very appropriate topic to pray over today. I encourage you to pray and fast and just pray for our leaders and the people that will be elected, that they're committed to justice and righteousness. And not just any version of justice and righteousness, that the justice and righteousness points to biblical values and truths, and that is our plumb line. Our plumb line to Christ is the Bible. So that's our prayer for this day. I look forward to seeing you back on day 18. Have a good rest of your day. This has been a Land Sharp for Christ production. The PDF for 21 days for prayer and fasting is brought to you by Bellevue Baptist Church in Memphis, Tennessee. Please consider subscribing to the channel, and hit the notification button if you'd like to be updated when new content is available.